Okay. Got some track ready to go down here. I've been working back here on the cutting and fitting and having a good old time. I did get the track formed, as you can see here in the coives. And then around over here at the Sharon end, that ladder's all in. What I did was I actually put it down with, I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but there's little tacks there. I think they're actually Atlas track nails, I think. I don't know. I had them in my toolbox or, around the workshop, so I just grabbed them and said, that should work. And then what I did was get them all in. So the switch machines are all, mounted, installed, tested. They're all down. Now, the pigtails have to be connected underneath, which will be fun. I did decide to go ahead and work on them at the bench. I didn't think I could solder very well back there. And I'm glad I did, because I could test it at the bench. And maybe I'll throw a little segment in on how I tested them just for the fun of it. So I'm going to have to crawl underneath there and then connect the leads from the PLC 13 and from the switch machine, but I think I can get there. I tried. I can reach the hardest one's the one that's there in the back, but I think I can get it. And once done, then it's done and hopefully out of the way. So I decided to tack this down in case anything ever does happen to the switch machines or the contact, the PL13s. I can get to them, get them out relatively easily. This track here is also tacked down. Seems to work fine using those little track nails. So these are all in. What I did then, well, I'll show you over here. Alright, so then I got the coive going here. I did use for the first 5 tracks, so from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's micro engineering flex track. That's from roughly a 36-inch radius down to a 28-inch radius. So I thought, I'll risk it. I just hope they don't pop out of the ties. For the 2 tighter ones, which are a 26 and a 24, I did use Peco track for that. So they're all pretty much curved and cut, and they need a little bit fine work, fine adjusting here and there. Kind of cut will come over to these here. This is not in yet. It's just kind of laid out. I did have to modify the cutout for the Peco switch machine. It wasn't quite right. And as you can see, that track looks a little wonky over there just because I don't have it lined up yet. That's a little bit of a kink there, but that's because I don't have it set the way I want to have it set. So I gotta play with that. I have to do some shimming under there too to make that fit a little bit nicer. These terminal boards are for the tortoises, which will be on top of the deck. So pretty much everything's now cut. I had to cut a real tiny one here. If I was smart, I would have extended that to that, but I didn't do it. So I had to cut a little tiny little guy there to fit in there. This piece is for the last track. It's a Peco. Some pieces soldered together, ready to go for that's going to be for this very last one. It's going to be right in here. That's going to come off of this turnout here. So I'm not worried where I'll get to that. That's just laying track. That's the easy part. The hard part, are the curves, the switch machines, and getting everything lined up and whatnot. So, and then along here, I'll probably come around the curve and then come into a bunch of re-railers in here, just for the fun of it. And like I said, I also have one on the other side. So, progress, getting there. Microengineering track, I'll probably never use it again. I don't like it anymore, but I got it formed. It is what it is. And actually, the Peco holds itself fairly well too. Here's at the ends, since it is a little bit more flexible. Here's kind of what happens, at the ends of it. But all right, no big deal. Okay, so we're gonna keep forging away here. So I got a mess up there. Try to get all this stuff figured out and secured. I may just go ahead and just tack it down. It seems to be working fairly well. I think it'll hold these okay in the curve and everything. And if not, I can always go back later. If things start to move, the nails start to come up, I can always go back and just put some glue down. So, all right, that would be a lot faster too. I can get it in and get it wired up and hopefully get it done relatively soon. So, oh, I did notice I do have one possible issue up here, right where it comes in. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little bit of a dip there, right about where the end of the caboose is. It's probably hard to see, but there definitely is a little vertical change in elevation there. You can see that's where, coming in from the outside, I put that Atlas rerailer, and that's pretty much right where that matches or meets up with the turnout. I guess I didn't get it quite as smooth or as level as I thought coming across there. So there is a little bit of a dip. Doesn't seem to bother rolling stock at all. I'm just worried about, running the J1 on there or something, if it's going to be such a change it's going to bind things up. But if I could always pull the little tack I have there, maybe shim it to make it a little bit smoother of a transition. So once I get things in and wired up, I'll do some test runs and see if I need to make a modification there. And that way, if it's tacked down, not a big deal. It's a little bit easier than if it's glued down. So, all right, we keep forging ahead here, and hopefully before long get this track down. And I still got to do a lot of feeders and wire and soldering up and everything. So I'm not saying it's going to be super soon, but we'll keep plugging away. We will keep plugging away. Alrighty, so here at the bench with a Peco number 6 turnout, and since this is the first time that I've actually used it with the PL10 and the PL13, I figured I better test them here at the bench before I get them over the layout and installed and wired up and find out something doesn't work. And I'm glad I did, because one of the other switches, the PL13 switches, did not work. So luckily I bought one new one, which I mounted to this one, and in fact made a mistake. Now I guess all the UK Peco guys are going to know this, but when you glue this PL13 on, it connects to the rod that goes through from the switch machine. Well, I had that slightly off center, so the rod was coming up a little out of cattywampus. Oh, that was great. So I didn't know if that would affect the turnout operation, so I carefully, luckily it was early in the gluing process, I was able to pry it back off and then center it properly so the rod came up straight. So just at least note to myself how to do that. So what I have here is I have the common, or the ground, off of the solenoid is a black wire. Yellow and blue are the two halves that you momentarily energize to throw the puppy. And then I have green wires, the common off the switch, and purple brown are the other two. So the first thing I do is I kind of sit down and say, all right, so I have my little fluke meter set on continuity, and I want to check that, okay, so I have continuity there and nothing on the brown wire. Okay, good. So all right, so that means I have at least, in that position, which happens to be normal right now. So then what I'm going to do, I have a little, actually this thing's huge. It was my dad's, so I have it. It's an AC converter, 120 down to 15 volts AC, 5,000 milliamps. I don't think I need that much, but oh geez, sorry, Mr. Camera. I had it. It was my dad's, so I'm going to use it, because I don't have any other AC adapters to get 15 volts AC. I don't have any old power packs or anything crazy like that. So then to throw this bad boy, I carefully, this here is attached to so the black wire is to one side, the other side here is on that green test lead. Then I'll take a yellow or blue, and I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but you just momentarily touch it and see if the turnout will move. And when it does, you'll know it. Okay, it didn't move. So now I need to get the blue wire, and then we'll hopefully throw this. These things really throw, man. When they go, they go. Ba-boom, there it goes. All right, so now we'll go back, and before I had continuity on purple. Okay, now I don't. Let's check the brown. Okay, good. So the switch works. So now I know that everything seems to be working okay. I've got continuity off the switch on both positions. It does seem to throw. Let me throw it back with my blue wire. Watch that bad boy go there. Oop, wrong wire. See, I forgot already. Yellow wire. There it goes. And they really throw. So, alright, so that's how I test it. So now I feel confident and go ahead and get this one mounted. The only other thing I wasn't sure about, and it may not show up, let me turn this power off so I'm sure the UK guys are all like, yeah, whatever. We know all this, but I don't. I'm just a dumb American. So, I guess when you mount the PL10, I don't know if it's going to focus. It may not, but I just kind of twisted over the 4 little tabs. I guess you're supposed to do that. It doesn't really say in the instructions, but it's on there pretty good. Everything mounts nice. You got to fiddle with it a little bit to get the rod through, but and I did solder all the connections on. So, all right, let's get this bad boy all over on the layout. So, as my UK friends would say when I was in Afghanistan, let's crack on. Let's get going here. Well, here we are. About 12 hours later from the previous segment, and worked all day, slaved all night. All right, so I got all this in. It's all down. I decided to go ahead and just tack it down with those nails. It seemed to work out fine. I had to form the curves with the micro-engineering track, which was okay. I mean, like I said, it is what it is, but it's okay. It kind of held its position, so I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and tack it down. So now these two are Peco because it's a little bit tighter radius, and it just was a little bit easier to deal with. So they're around to here. And now it's really just a matter of, those 3 just run straight up. This is all in, the main line's in. Actually, the main line's in all the way through. If I had the power, I could run a train through. Woohoo! It's through here. It's okay. It's not the greatest. It looks all right. Got to cut some pieces for that and that to join up those 2 staging tracks. Like I said, run these 3 straight out, or however I'm going to do that over there. That's simple. Then around here, like I said, this is all tacked down. I've never done that before. Hopefully it all works. I probably will, as you can see here, I added some PCB board ties where the huge gap is, where I soldered everything. Just for some more stability, I'll probably just go back in and solder those in. Plus, it gives you a real good, easy spot to put your feeders on too. So, and then up this way, these 3 tracks is going to run straight up, simple. And then these connect here, and this is for that over there when I decide to put that track in. And I said, then these are all done, and the main's through. Actually, the main's all done. This is the main line. So if I had power, I could actually run something through. Although I got to power the switches, so I got more to do. So that's that. So getting there. Like I said, going to try to get this all wrapped up tomorrow. Get the other tracks in, which really shouldn't take long at all. Then got to start doing some feeders and hooking up the switch machines and getting power, and then turning the tracks on and trying it out. All right, more to come as we keep forging ahead here. Alrighty. All the track is down here in staging. All the switch machines are hooked up. Well, mostly, except for 2 tortoises yet. But this ladder is all in, and when I powered everything up, I had no short circuits, which I'm amazed at. But I did have one issue. I had to add a feeder right here. I forgot. From there up to the frog there, the other frog on that other Peco was dead. So I had to solder that in and get it hooked into the bottom. I forgot about it. And now I've just been kind of doing some testing and running things around. I ran the big boy around, and now well, he's not a big boy. He's a bigger locomotive than this little guy here. Yay! Little Mighty Mite. He's a real good one to run around. He'll find issues with the frogs and that kind of stuff. So I've been running him around, just checking to see how the things are. I did have a pretty serious issue with the frogs on the Peco turnouts because of me, not because of Peco. And I'll go ahead and pause and just show that segment because it really was. It's kind of interesting. I learned a little bit more about Peco turnouts. So I'll go ahead and pause and show you the issues I had and how I fixed it, and then we'll come back to this. Okay, here's the issue with the Peco frogs, and it's not really an issue with the Peco frogs. It's an issue that Rob Bennett caused with the Peco frogs. Unbeknownst to me, underneath the Peco turnout is where their wire comes in on the bottom side. It's great. Also on the bottom side is where they connect all the different rails of the frog. Well, when I went in and I took off the Peco wire, 'cause I don't like to use it, I think it's too small. Anyway, I went in there and must have gone medieval on it and ripped it out. And unbeknownst to me, that is a problem. Because what it did, then this part of the frog was no longer connected to the rest of it. And I can show you that because the frog should be, have continuity across all the rails. Okay, that one's good. That one's good. Oh, nothing. No go. Open circuit. Nicht gut. So, what to do? Well, what I did, again, there's a couple ways you could solve this issue. What I decided to do, and I don't know what's going to be visible here, and the reason I'm showing you this, because I made a mistake, and I did this to the wrong rail of the frog because I'm an idiot. So what I did, again, I don't know if it's going to show up, but basically I put a little bit of solder here on this rail. Then I came in with a piece of 24 gauge solid wire, heated it up, and soldered the wire in. Then I cut it. Then I bent it and formed it, and then I soldered it over here onto this part of the frog. So now that's got continuity. Well, I mean, like I said, I'm kind of anyway. This rail was no problem. This rail was the problem. So I had to go back and redo them all because I did it on all of them, except for one. So I had to do 4 of them over again. So for example, this one's been done, or actually it's been redone because you can see the one here that I don't need. I'm such a moron. So what I'll do is I'll clip this to the one rail there, and now everything, yay, really good. Oh, thank you. And then of course that one's itself. So that's what I did. So I basically soldered the jumper from this rail to this rail. I picked here. It's gonna keep beeping because there's no flanges, there's no wheels going to run there. And then carefully I went in on this side, and so far everything looks, it's going to be fine. Everything should clear. In fact, I have a double protection on these. I did them both. Now it just so turns out this turnout was actually okay. So I must not have gone crazy on that one and ripped the wire out or the connection out when I was doing that one. So it was just these 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, let me zoom out here at this end, and then the other one. Let me go slowly, huh? And this one as well. Now, this one I did right because the way it's laying, it's this particular rail. So you can see the little jumper. Maybe you can't. I don't know, but I don't know if that's going to focus. Go way in on that. Now again, you could have done a couple other ways. You could certainly have brought wires up from the bottom. You could have, jumpered it anywhere as long as you're getting to the frog. You could have brought, this is where I brought my actual wire up, and I use a frog juicer. I'm not going to get into it. That's just what I do. I could have tapped into that wire and brought another wire up and soldered it there. But I just figured, you know what? I'm not worried about it looking pretty because it's in staging as long as it works. So that's why I just went ahead and soldered it up here. If I was on the layout itself, I might not have done that, just because it is going to be kind of obvious. If anyone comes in here and looks, they're going to say, "What did this moron do?" But I did got it fixed. So now it's working. I did go over on the other side and check every other Peco turnout that I installed, and they're all okay. None of them are an issue. So now all I got to do, you can see I got that little wire kind of flapping there on the breeze. Let me see if I can show it. It's right here. Again, it probably won't show up. But now I'm going to move it over and I'll solder it. Again, this one I didn't have to do, but now I got bulletproof frogs, I guess. So I'm going to get that one soldered up and get back to testing. Good Lord, I can't believe I did that. So there you go. Lessons learned, huh? Alright, so, like I said, I do have these temporarily wired up here. These bad boys really go when you, woohoo! I don't have my capacitive discharge unit made yet. Peco's instructions say you don't have to have one, but I'll make one anyway. So I'll go ahead and get that made up and then before I do the final permanent wiring for this. But so far, these all seem to work pretty good. So the little Mighty Mite kind of tools around here and just checking things out. So now, what's left to do? What's left to do? Well, I did, let's see, a couple things I did do. Well, I just brought the 12-volt power over so I can get an indication that that's on. I did add one more light over here. Dun, da, da, da. Again, took a little bit of a kludging around, but that's a $13 light from Home Depot. Not bad. I kind of like it. Seems to work out fairly well. It lightens up this this end here nicely. And like I said, I got to finish that control cabinet yet, and I got to get the tortoises installed here. And here comes our little Mighty Mite. What I'm planning to do is probably something like that, you know, just mount them here. I'm going to figure out how to get through there. I should have thought it out a little bit better. I should have extended this. I usually cut them because I'm thinking they're going to be on the scenic part of the layout, while these aren't. So I should have just left well enough alone, but I didn't. So let's see if he makes it all the way out there. Hey, where you going? Hey, goodbye. Oh, see, he stalled. I don't know why. It could be dirty track over there. Let's see if he starts up going the other direction. Nope, I'll have to give him a push. The joys of dirty track. Come on, Buster. There you go. Now, I gotta be careful because these, like I said, with the torch is not in, I don't want him to pick those. It's a little bit noisy because it's right on the plywood, but hey, it seems to be working pretty nice. We can. Oh, he's going crazy! He's going crazy! So far everything seems to be working okay. Got a little more testing to do. So obviously some more. He's just whining away. Got to clean up some wiring on the underside. Now that everything works, I can kind of, get it straightened up, and that little guy, he just keeps on trucking. All right. So now, once I get this all done, sometimes those re-railers cause issues. So, all right. So, excuse me. So, pretty much, this side's pretty much done. I said make the capacitive discharge unit. Which I'm going to mount, probably, yeah, you can't see anything down there, but that real faint, that's the temporary, that's the power supply I'm going to use. I'm going to mount it down here somewhere, and then run it to the cabinet over in the Sharon end, and run it into this cabinet. The tortoise has got to go in. I probably ought to put up something here for any runaways. Otherwise, that'll be a nice little repair job. But overall, I'm pretty happy. The light's pretty good, I think. I think the light's. I haven't had to change the f-stop here too much, so that light seems to be taking care of business. So then it's just a matter of getting this thing loaded up, cleaned up, get some of the totes back in here, and then get back to the other side of the layout and get to work. So, all right, there you go. Staging is, I'm going to call it operational. A little bit of the two remote panels I got to make. They're not made. The panels are. I haven't actually, the control boxes. I haven't actually installed them on the other side of the layout yet. That's going to happen. So until that's done, I can't remotely work it from the other side. So for now, it's all going to be back here. So if I'm by myself, I'll have to run back and throw turnouts and run a train. But that's okay. And actually, the wireless, so I'm using a wireless throttle, seems to work okay. I was a little concerned that I might have to do a hard wire or do all that kind of shenanigans to get it, but it seems to work. I mean, it's right through the wall there, just on the other side, so it appears to be working okay. We'll see when we get a bunch of operators and more throttles working and everything, start really loading down the wireless receiver, but I hope I don't have to run a throttle bus back here for a plug-in throttle. I could, but that would just be even more work, but we'll see. Alright, so that is the staging area. Like I said, pretty much operational now. Just a little bit of gingerbread work to do. Of course, 2 tortoises have to go in. I gotta figure that out, like I said, and then some safety issues, some precautions for falling down, and then get it loaded up and get back to the other side of the layout. Alrighty, 1 tortoise installed and operating. You can see I put it here on the deck. It took a little bit of work to get the throw bar over there. Again, because I cut the actual turnout throw bar short, which I shouldn't have done, but I did. So this is a tortoise. It's actually in a remote signal mount. I think they make remote mounts for tortoises, but I had these. Same concept. It's just, the base and this thing here. It gives you the throw mechanism, and then I use the larger, I think it's 039 diameter wire, not the little stuff that comes with it. It took a little bit of work to get the shape I needed for the actual actuator wire, because it has to come underneath the rail, over by the tie, then up and over and into the hole that's in the, so I don't know if that's going to show up all that well. Alright, so everything worked. Now the problem I had, well, okay, so the first thing I did was I made a sample out of the thinner wire, the normal throw bar wire from tortoise. I don't know if it's even going to focus. I kind of knew the shape that I wanted to make it go in, and this worked okay. I mean, it got in there and it wouldn't move it. This end there was sticking up too high. Probably would have caught the couplers or the trip pins off the K's coming through. So I said, okay, so that's, attempt number 1. That's good. That should work. Looks like it throws it. Let's try it out of the heavier wire. So I did. Tried it out of the heavier wire. Now this piece has been cut up because I've been using the pieces for other stuff. But this one then, it's hard to see. So that's got the right shape there on the left hand side to go into the throw bar hole. Then you can see I had when I have it coming straight out, it would hit the rail. So I had to put a little bend there, roughly about what, 1/8 of an inch in or something like that. Well, that's too far over, because when it would come over to the reverse position, this little shoulder here was hitting the rail. So I said, okay, so what I need to do is same concept, but just move this bend really, really close to where it comes out of the throw bar. And I did that, and that is what's in place now. And it appears to be working just lovely. So you can see that's got that little, let's see if I can get in there. So it comes out of the throw bar. I can point to this so you can see it. It comes out of the throw bar, goes over, comes up 90s, another 90 to head back toward the tortoise. This little offset in here to come underneath the rail, then up and over and into here. Now in here, since this wire is so big, I'm not really sure this is designed for that wire. I put another piece here just to kind of balance it out because it was tilting so far. So just to have it a little bit more, level across here when you clamp down on it. I hope it holds. So far it's working okay. We'll see over time how it works. They just kind of move through this one here. That's just kind of a guide. This is what actually holds them in place. So hopefully over time we'll see. But if not, I can always take it off, and it's above deck, so I can always get to it and work on it if I have to. And it does appear to work fairly well. So let me take my that's my PTT, my portable tortoise throw device there. 9-volt battery. Hey, they work. And I'll go ahead and see if I can throw as you turn out. Let me undo this and reverse the polarity. If I remember what wires were where. Okay, so now if I put the 9 volts back on, and it moves it over. It seems to be working fairly good, holds it in there pretty snug. It's not going to move that wire. It's not going to compass the point won't come off the stock rail. And everything seems to be moving okay, so for now I'm going to declare that one a success. At least for now. Now on this one, I'll do something similar, but I actually have enough room out here on the end of the throw bar to drill another hole. So I just have to bring it up and over outside here. I want it to come underneath into here. Although I could, I know how to do it now. Since I did it with this one, it's just make another one. We'll see. I also did bring the contacts down one of the switches just in case. I don't really plan to use it, but you never know. You might as well have it. So I brought the one switch down. I didn't bring them both down in case for some reason I want to add a light back here or something. I have no idea. I'm planning to use the lights on the other side, on that side of the layout, on that panel. Just doing the reverse diodes wired in with the actual power going to the tortoise. So, all right, so that's how we got our first tortoise up on the deck. Now it's time to do the other one. All right, so here is the capacitive discharge unit that I made up. I didn't invent it myself. It came from a plan I found on the internet. I suppose if people are interested, I could do a video on it, but it's really kind of simple. And a lot of folks that aren't using Pecos won't really care about it. But I wanted to make one up to see if it helps. And surprisingly, it does. I'll show you the turnouts operate a lot quieter with this in the circuit. So you just come in from and the way I do it, I add these little terminal blocks here just to get off of the little perf board here. The components are freaking cheap. It's basically the two capacitors. It's a BD679 Darlington transistor, 4 2.2K ohm quarter watt resistors, a 1K resistor just for the voltage drop across the LED. That's on to indicate that it's charged up. And then 3 other, are they 4, 4002 or 4, whatever it is. There's just diodes. It's really simple. So the parts are cheap. I have a lot of these boards around the house just for doing different electronic stuff. And then you can say I wired it over to some larger terminal board just to bring in the larger size cables that are coming in from the power supply, and then run it over to the control panels where the switches are, the actual momentary switches. So pretty nice. So it's wired up and it all works. And I'll just show you how it works. Let me just pop over to the control panel and we'll take a look. All right, here back at the panel. So like I said, wherever I mount this thing, I think I'm going to mount it on the one side, and then have a board to put the power supply on because it's pretty good, it's pretty hefty unit. And then from there, a cable runs into the back of this to a terminal board, and then appropriately up to these momentary switches, which are center off, momentary, up or down. And then when you operate these, it operates the turnouts. See if I can show this here. And it is a lot quieter. Let me see here if this helps at all. Alright, so I'll throw this bad boy. Boom. See how nice and quiet that was? The clicking you hear, that's really more the switch than it is the switch machine. Yeah, so the real loud clicking you hear is me clicking these cheap switches. So these all work. Everything seems nice and quiet. So now I just got to get that installed. And I'm probably going to install it underneath over. Let me pan back this way. I'm probably going to use that board that it's sitting on because I found that board. And like I said, this Mahawker is heavy, so I want to put something to support it. So I'm probably going to put it down to here, bring some supports out from the studs. A couple drywall screws to secure this board to it. This gets plugged in, and this has got 2. One wire runs over to the cabinet I was just at, and then another one runs into that cabinet. There's only one turnout there, it's that one, but that's where that is. So it's nice. It seems to work fairly well. Relatively simple, cheap, very inexpensive to make, and I enjoy doing this kind of stuff, so it was quite fun. So let me just to show you, because I really didn't know if I even needed this, but it is a lot quieter. So I'll hook this up directly to the 15 volts, and we'll just get a real quick audio proof of how loud it is without the capacitive discharge unit in the circuit. Alright, so now all I did was just I pulled the wires going to the control panel off the output side of the CDU, connect them right to the 15 volts here, and then what we'll do, again, this kind of surprised me. I guess it makes sense it does it, but now what I'll go ahead and do is I'll throw this and I'll try to make it so you can hear the actual, let's see which way I want to go. I think I'm going to go this way. You can hear that's the switch machine now. So that's definitely, without the discharge unit in there, it's considerably louder. So, alright, so that's that. Just got to get this installed, and then so to get this board mounted, and really this staging area is now pretty much done. I got both tortoises installed. I do have the other one in as well. This tortoise is in. I went with a similar arrangement, and the reason I did that, and this again might be just silly old me, but I figured if I bring it in under the rail, it kind of helps keep that wire down. If I gone right to the end of the throw bar, and it would have been a tight fit, it's still possible it could have, you know, come loose and come up and maybe come out. Not that that guy can't work on it because it's above the deck, but this way it's the exact same way as this one, where I literally had to do that because I had no room on the throw bar outside of the turnout. So they're both in, they both work. So the big step now, to get these really, they don't operate yet off of these switches, because I need to get the other panel on the layout side, because that's where I was going to have the lights, the 12 volts for the power. The 12 volts will just run back here, you know, as needed to run these turnouts, but I need to get that other panel done. Now I could always operate, like I said, with my little 9-volt battery here, or temporarily I have 12 volts. I could temporarily bring 12 volts on, but it forces me to get the other control panel done on the other side of the layout. Get it installed, then I can see if the remote operation works from both sides. I'm not as worried about the other side yet, because that's a little bit bigger panel, some more work. But to get the tortoises to work, I do need to get just the way I have it wired, I have to do that. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this puppy up. Like I said, a lot of work got done back here. Let me know if folks are interested. I could always, I guess I could do a quick video on that discharge unit. It's not hard. You can find circuits all over the internet. The only thing when you do it kind of like this is how you're going to lay the parts out. Because, you know, having a diagram is nice, but that's not a physical layout. And the boards I use basically are horizontal or vertical strips, depends how you hold it, you know, of kind of like a perf board. So you got to think about how you want to lay the pieces out to match the circuit. That takes a little bit of thinking. It's not rocket science, but it just takes a little bit of thinking. If anyone's interested, let me know. I can always do a quick video on how I did that. Really, it should be a short video, although I say that, and nothing's ever short that I do. So, turn that off, get that mounted. Like I said, staging is now pretty much good to go. So now we can get it loaded up, get some train staged in here. And then, what I really need to do is get back to work over on right through there on Sharon and get that area done, get the factory track in, you know, start some basic scenery over there. Now I got all new control panels to make over there, so there's still quite a bit of work, but at least this is behind me. So that's it. That's staging, from a bare mechanical room to a nice little area to store some trains. I think I can get roughly, you know, probably 15, 16 car trains in here on most of the tracks. Some of the tracks a little bit shorter. So overall, pretty happy. Kind of surprised I actually got this done. everything lines up and works. But that's it. So that is staging. I'm going to call this, I'll say it's 99% done. Maybe there's a little bit of fiddle work, but for the most part, everything pretty much works. Once I get the CDU mounted and installed, that's really the hard part. Do have shelves to put up and stuff like that, but that's not going to stop the operation of the actual layout, so I don't consider that part of the requirement. Definitely going to do it, but most of the work here is done. So, all right, staging done. Wrap it up. Let's get some trains running on this thing.